Knurling on the outside of these brass inserts are designed for thermoplastics. This tip is specially designed for installing inserts, and it works a lot better than your regular soldering iron tip. These are compatible with installing inserts, and it works a lot better than your regular capos and welders. These are compatible with inserts, and it works a lot better than your regular capos.
There we go. How's that? Audio now? Sorry about that. I had it muted. I'm playing with a couple things. I don't know if you saw that video in the beginning there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, awesome. So anyways, I was saying, hey, and welcome back to the Build It Basement. Another weekend chill and chat stream. A lot of stuff's happened this week to my family, to myself, but I wanted to still do this to kind of keep my mind off of things and to spend some time with you guys. Sun's out today. I did this earlier. If you wonder what I was doing with that, I've got shorts on. It's finally not cold out today. The sun's beaming. It's a bright sunny day, blue skies or anything like that. So this isn't going to be a really long stream, but maybe we can make kind of a little bit of a fun stream. I had promised Woody a while back. I didn't promise him, but I told Woody I was going to build his press. So I do want to do that, and I figured what better place than on the stream, because I can kind of do it, get back to chat, and go back and forth. I got a couple of other things I want to talk about. I don't have a major gotcha this week, but I do have a little one that I want to talk about, and I got something to remind me of that too. I'll put that over there so I don't forget about that. Voron's in the background, the new 2.4 R2 with clipper screen on it. That's going to be a whole nother video coming out pretty soon on that. And before I go too much further, we got a few people here in the stream. Who do we have? Let's see here. Rainy here, Renee Wilson. Let's see. Sun's out, guns out. Yes. True. Okay. So anybody else that's in here, I say hello. I do want to say thank you to the people listed down below here, as well as everybody else that's watching the stream or watches the stream in the future. A little, I guess, quick housekeeping things in here. I do now have a StreamBot element bot, supposedly, that's going to randomly, no, not too randomly, but based on timer, say a couple things, kind of some information about the Discord that I'm part of. One of the Discords I'm part of, the Discord I'm most directly with, not one of those huge ones, but kind of a small, more family type Discord, in terms of family being us 3D printer people that are kind of in a little group here. Myself, First Layer, DeWitt 3D, Golden Jaguar, a few other people, a couple of vendors as well. I'm wearing my KB 3D shirt today to remind me to talk about something about that for Chris. Not that Chris asked me, but something I wanted to mention because it's something I'm interested in, I'm thinking about doing. So yeah, so I'm gonna put my camera down over to here and kind of show you what I'm working with here, and tell you a little bit about it while I'm doing it. Let's see here. I think it's that guy. Yep, that's the right one. So right here are the parts and pieces to build the Adafruit, what they call it, the Adafruit heat set insert rig. It's pretty simple. It's a few printed parts, a small section of extrusion, some V-slot wheels, V-wheels, a cheap soldering iron, some hardware, and something I have to use to go up and over that. Don't even know if I've looked at that yet. Maybe a piece of belting, huh? So anyways, I'm gonna start working on this today, and I know last stream I mentioned the small kit I bought for my heat certs. I call them heat certs. And cool like that. But basically it puts them right up close to the edge of your soldering iron, so you don't have this long, let me show you my other one here. You don't have this long thing coming off the end of your soldering iron that's kind of another failure point, if you will, or wiggle point, if you will. So I like that. That's pretty cool. Cheap soldering iron. I think this was like $8 or $9, but it does have a little temperature control on it. I wanted one with a temperature control on it. I actually wanted one that had temperature control on the wire, and it had an automatic off, but I could not find one to get in a reasonable amount of time. So here we are. This one has temperature control on here. It's a little thumb wheel. I don't know how precise it is, but at least I can make some adjustments if needed. This soft grip portion is probably going to come off. We're probably going to cut that off, or at least cut off part of it, I'm going to guess, with a razor blade, so that we can actually put this into the holder. Holder's going to mount something like this, which doesn't go so good when that's on there, which is why I say that. But we probably use some of this rubber here to get some additional clamping force on it. So probably just keep a couple strips of that when we do it. So yeah, anyways, back to chat real quick. Let's see here. If you upgrade your Octopus to Octopus Pro, oh, gotcha from me, from Renee. If you upgrade your Octopus to Octopus Pro, they've added jumpers for drivers. Ask me how I figured it out. I will talk about that a little bit. How many heat certs do you have to use to build the heat cert press? That sounds like how many woodchucks would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. I don't know. I really don't. By the looks of it, we're going to need, let's see, 1, 2, None there. 1, 2, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna guess 4 there. So 4, 6, 8. I guess between 10 and 12. Between 10 and 12. Actually, they're in the bag because if I didn't mention it in the stream, Woody sent me all these parts. So let me see how close I was, because he even put the screws already on the heat sets. Quite the guy. So let's see here. I'll see how close I was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 supposedly. We'll see. We'll see how close we are there. I have the instructions up, but yeah. In terms of this you can put quarters into it, but it seemed like it'd be pretty expensive. It'd be $10 a quarters by the time I filled that up. So I bought some cheap nuts to put in there, and then also bought a bolt with nuts in case I want to really make it heavy. I don't know how much weight we're going to need, but I have that there. Yeah. Oh, cool. Icy Renee, Icy Renee, however you say it, just as the Stream Element Streambot says, thanks for subscribing, I appreciate it. John Bima, good day. John, how are you, my friend? I haven't seen you in a while. We'll say friend in air quotes, because God only knows where things are today versus another day with everybody else in the world out there, but I hope everybody gets along at least for 5 minutes a day. Stop everybody from killing each other. And I hope that doesn't demonetize us by saying that, but whatever. We were talking a little bit about a friend of mine named Woody John. I don't know when you showed up, but we're building a heat set, or I call them heat cert in press, and then a couple other little things. Between us? No, nothing happened between us. Hell, I've never met you personally, so I have trouble being too emotionally involved and distraughted with people that I have not personally met. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I did want to talk about a gotcha, and I'm gonna bring that up right now, and I'm going to switch back to my regular here. So my oddball thing today is, because I've been doing some background, obviously when I work on the printer and I do stuff on live streams, I do stuff in videos, I do a little bit of legwork in advance, even though I do record my videos live and I don't edit them when I do them, because what goes wrong is probably going to go wrong for more than just I was doing some XY movements on the gantry, and everything was working well until I started to hear an odd sound on one of the motions, and I narrowed it down. I was like, what is going on here? And I guess this breaks into something a little bit further, and I'm going to actually zoom in on the printer a little bit here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Right here. So let me see if I can move this a little bit. And that looks like it's in focus, and you're probably looking at the back of my head, but that's okay. So we're doing some testing with the printer here, getting everything back in, got the 4K camera realigned. As many of you know, I have the CNC tap on here, so I had to pull things apart for that. And once I was doing some movements with the printer again, just to make sure things are functioning properly, I had a rumbling sound, and a rumbling sound can only be a few different things. You could have a stepper motor that's doing something really odd. You could have a belt that's doing something really odd. Or actually anything that's in the rotational movement of the belt or the drive movement of the belt. Or probably the worst, at least in my book, is you have a linear rail issue. Now the issue with the linear rail issue is the fact of how much you have to pull things apart to get to them. So my specific rail issue tended to be right here. It was on my movements. But to get to that point, to figure out where it was, and this is kind of why I think this is a decent gotcha, it's kind of like troubleshooting 101. So you got a problem. I know there's a problem with the sound of the printer when it's going from left to right, right to left, And with those movements, it's making a rumbling sound. I don't know exactly what it is. I inspect the belts on both the A and B drive motors. So I'm looking at those. I don't see my belts skipping. I don't see my belts going up or down. So they're pretty well aligned. Never say they're perfect, but they're pretty well aligned. I also don't see anything happening over here on my joints on the side here on the gantry portion. I also don't see anything happening with my front idlers. I loosen up my idlers. I tighten up my idlers. Still the same sound. Then I get to the point where I actually completely loosen up my stepper drivers so that my belts are moving freely around the drive axis of those, and the sound still keeps on happening. So basically at that point I haven't taken anything apart. I'm just loosening up screws to see where I can find it out, or find out where it's coming from. And once I get to that point, I know it's not coming from there. Next thing I do is I take the belts off of my tool head, off the stealth burner, off of the CNC tap that's on here, and I see if that sound still happens with the belts off when I move my tool head from left to right. And it does. So what I've done is I've troubleshot all the way back from it being a driver issue underneath the printer to a stepper motor, all the way up to the belts, all the way up to the mechanics of the printer itself, and then all the way up to basically the linear rail. So I wind up taking off the linear rail and I clean it very well. Take it apart, take out all the ball bearings that are inside the rail. This one happens to have an L and a D and an O on it, and I'm not talking bad about LDO. However, this rail is no good. But it's not the rail's no good, it's the carriage that's no good, or the ball bearings within. I don't really feel like rebuilding it, but at some point probably what I'll do is I will order new ball bearings. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. I'm guessing that there are some ball bearings inside of this thing that are either mal-shaped or something else is happening. I didn't notice anything major come out of it when I cleaned it out. Yeah, so taking all apart and everything like that, and I don't know how well the sounds are coming. I'm gonna lean over so you can kind of hear what that rumbling sound sounds like, but and I don't know if that came through or not, but basically it's basically a stick move, stick move, stick move, stick move, stick move as it goes through, and it didn't want to go away. Lucky for me, I had, and this is kind of an oddball one, I had a carriage, a proper carriage from KB3D, and a rail from Fabrico. And I'm not saying they buy their stuff from the same place, but I was able to mate those two together, and it made a very, very good package. That is now back on the printer, so that's back to where it needs to be, and it's kind of the reason why I'm probably not going to do too much tuning with you guys today, because I basically had to rip the whole thing apart, and I don't feel like I'm at the point where I can do tuning. But we will talk about clipper screen, because I did put that on there, and I did throw out a question out to a bunch of people on whether or not they're interested in doing custom graphics on the clipper screen, and that was actually something that a lot of people seem to be interested in. So catch back up here, it looks like with John. Let's see here. Is this the heat set press from Adafruit? It is the heat set press from Adafruit. Let's see if I, yes, okay. If I have all the parts of this one on my bench shelf, I need to get off my butt and build it. Yes, it looks like a really easy build, John. If you didn't catch it, Woody, I don't know if you remember Woody, but Woody actually, this is the first print that Woody did on his printer, and he wanted to send me a gift for helping him out. So he sent me the printed parts as well as the extrusion and the hardware. He didn't send the soldering iron and stuff like that, but sent me all the parts I need to assemble it, and then I picked the soldering iron of my choice to put into it. But that was pretty awesome. Let's see here. When was the little time I injected grease into the X-rail? Well, the printer hadn't been used much, but when I built it, I actually greased all the rails. I washed all the rails out and greased them. I will be 1000% honest. I basically used my pressure wash method on clean these with isopropyl, which basically is lining up your carriage with the back holes here, and then using a decent spray gun with some relatively high test isopropyl alcohol and basically pressuring it right into the holes so it kind of works its way into the back and through everything, running it, doing it again, doing that all on a white cloth, getting it really cleaned out, and then blowing it out with air and letting it dry for about 15-20 minutes, blowing it out with air again, and then going through and doing the similar with grease. Basically, I take them halfway off the rail, grease them up, go the other side, grease them up on the other side. Now you guys can't see. Take them halfway off the rail, grease them up, and do the same on the other side. But it's got a decent amount of grease in there. I mean, it's right in the groove. Everything's there. I could put more grease in it, but I mean, it's already. It's not dry. And I try not to over or have too much load on an X rail, just because it's the rail that moves the most. A lot of work to be had there. Let's see here. When are you going to the range rabbit build? I don't know. So since you folks are here, I don't think we got a ton of people here today. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's probably nice in a lot of places. I probably get the people that are inside do the rain, but I'll tell you my lineup, or what I think my lineup's going to be in terms of how and what I'm going to be doing. Preloaded rails, for example, Honey Badger. Yeah, so I agree with that. The slip past on the Honey Badger. So that is the Honey Badger carriage is another place over there, but we'll get into that in a second. I'll jump back in. Oh, I got the pool boy here. Howdy, friend. How's the weather out your way? Oh, we're talking to John about the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. Good. He can build one before I build one, because a lot of people will ask questions. They say they see a lot of people building Vorons, but they also see a lot of people fixing Vorons. Do they ever work? I get the same question about the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. I've seen a lot of people building them. I've seen a couple of them working. I don't see people doing a lot long term with them, so that's interesting, or concerning. Probably the better word of the two. So yeah. Let's see here. Craftstar, if you ever build, consider using the sturdy bunny version. I'll have to look into that. I might look into that. I think I would rather personally build an IDEX machine. I don't have a lot of interest in doing full, 4, 5, 6, whatever amount color printing. I do have interest in doing multi-material printing, so I think an IDEX would be better fit for me, but still not there either on that, because I mean, it's a hobby. You got to work your way up to some of these things, right? So yeah, so jumping back into, nope, not that one. Well, everybody wave hello to my new printer. Into this right here. All right, so we have our V wheels here, and this, I don't even have the instructions in front of me, but this is pretty obvious. We have these bolts that are going to wind up going here. They're obviously spun in. These guys are going in like that. I don't see any washers, so that's where they're going directly. They should get nutted right on there pretty easy, and I will keep an eye here. This is pretty easy stuff, so I'll keep an eye on the chat while we're going. Let's see here. Not necessarily for multicolor, but for lazy loading, unloading filaments. That's where I'm interested in knowing how good they are over time, because I honestly can load and unload filaments pretty easily, but fixing a mechanism that is jamming up every so often would probably drive me nuts. And it's another thing that requires fine tuning. I'm actually going to be taking the plunge, and I'll talk a little bit more about my next, we'll say 6 months or so. Actually, pretty much exactly 6 months or so. What I'm planning on doing here with sensorless homing. I'm not a big fan of basically sitting there and trying to get software to work by, just doing a little bit here and a little bit there, and then working it backwards and working it forward so you get it just right. The problem I have sometimes with those types of things is once you get them just right, if there's any deviation or anything changes, you're back to square one, and you basically have to, figure out and go back through that software configuration. So I see the carrot feeder, or the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder, as being one of those things that needs to get fiddled with quite a bit. It's bad enough to be working with 3D printers that we're building, in our basements or in our garages and things like that. It's another thing to put myself through the relative, or what I believe to be the relative hell of constantly fiddling with something that needs the fiddling. I don't like buying more headaches, but I might consider it. I think it's a neat little thing. Let's see here. Go back up. I'm hobby working my way up to a functional Voron. Yes. I realized you made me a mod. I just realized you made me a mod. Yes, I did. I made you a mod. I made DeWitt 3D a mod. I made Golden Jaguar a mod. I made a bunch of people mods. I mean, worst case scenario. Switch over this. Worst case scenario, you go nuts or something like that, I just take you away as being a mod. But you're a couple of folks that I follow, we follow. We're kind of in a little circle here. You're the people that I would probably recognize if I saw you at a restaurant, and may even, sit down with you guys, have a meal or something like that. So why not, right? Let's see here. There are some friction issues, effect speed when you're using lengthy reverse Bowden tube and buffer as well. Yes, I would understand that. Let's see here. Woody made it. Great to see you, Woody. We're putting together what you sent me. Told everybody that this is like one of your first prints. So glad you made it. You can watch me either be able to put this together or mess up. I haven't found any decent written instructions. Looks like there's a video instruction, and what's really funny about me and video instructions? I don't like them. That's now that I think about it, that's really ironic. But anyways, I'll struggle my way through this. It doesn't look too bad. I kind of have some decent understanding as to what I'm doing here. So yeah. Anyways, let's see here. I love my AMS on my X1CC. Yes. Doing. I'm honored. Oh, don't be honored. Well, I mean, geez. I don't know what to say. You don't have to be honored. It's just, a friendly thing between that group of people. Somebody's usually here, and if hopefully if you see somebody doing something really outrageous or whatever, within, outside of outrageous, just horribly, by all means help out and help. Get them out of there, because I can't be looking at the screen the whole time. Let's see here. Let's see, there is a Voron 2.4 tool changer in the works. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I've looked. Yeah, I see that. I'm also interested in the black box that KV3D has, and he has on his website a lot of parts for it. But it's another open source printer that's pretty interesting to me. Let's see, pretty simple setup actually. Don't like video instruction. Irony, yes. It is much irony. I use the instruction, then your video explain a little bit more detail. I'm glad that I find it hard to understand, but I'm glad my instruction provides a little bit more detail. I think if anything, my instruction probably gives you another view or another vantage point. That being said, about vantage points and views and things like that, I'm going to flip over to this. I said I was going to mention it earlier. I figure I'll do it now. So KB3D, Chris over there, he has every once in a while a gloop. He has a gloop buy. Gloop is a different product, has nothing to do with this, but he does not even sell gloop. But if you are interested in buying gloop, go see gloop wherever the heck they sell gloop. But anyways, he has group buys. So group buys usually are things that he doesn't necessarily stock just yet, but he wants to see if people are interested in buying them. And if people have a high amount of interest, basically you're in the purchase of the first run or maybe even a second run, depending on how much interest there is in something. And if he gets to a point where he thinks a lot of people really want, then he may consider stocking it in his store. He actually did that originally back with I think the V0 and some other things like that. But right now, basically what we're looking at, or what he's looking at, is a filament dryer that basically does not use a heating element. I believe, let me before I speak anything here, let's see here. I don't even remember what they call it. It's I want to call it the Pilsner effect, but it has nothing to do with beer. I keep forgetting what it's called. It's basically the same thing that's inside of a small hotel refrigerator or anything like that. So basically what this is it's a filament dryer. It will hold between 5 or 6 rolls of filament. It's a very nice unit. It will feed directly out of it. And see if somebody spam bot. Beer is good. Yes, beer is good. But as a group buy, you have the opportunity to buy it for a little bit less than he probably sell it for. In this particular case, right now you can get in for $532, but the more that he has interest in it, it goes down to $517. And I don't know, I think it says someplace in here what the MSRP is, which is like somewhere around $700 or so dollars. Oh, right here. Whoa. Retail cost is $1,321. So that's a huge jump. So basic, two things, and I apologize, Chris, in advance if you watch this, but two things you'll notice here, because I'm a realist and I like to point out things, and John, I think that's the only reason you like me as well. But you kind of have some idea as to what Chris would have for markup on that type of product. And not that you can't take everything in consideration with that, including the shipping to him and duties and fees and things like that. But the retail cost on that being $1,321, but if you want to do something with a group buy, you can get it for as little as $517.99. So that is about 60% off. I'm going to spill the beans here on every retail establishment in the world, and I apologize in advance for doing it, but normal retail markup is roughly 30 to 40%. So you're basically buying it at a wholesale price. And when I say wholesale price, I mean real wholesale, not wholesale Costco club wholesale pricing. So anyways, I figured I'd mention that out there because I'm kind of interested in it. I may do it. Right now I have a dry box of my own that basically just has decussant inside of it to keep the moisture out of it, and it's silicone sealed inside of it, and every 6 months or a year, depending on how much I open that box up, I re-dry out that material to keep it dry. But this seems like a good thing to do. Let's see here. 3D print me some Corona, maybe a Corona holder or a Corona bottle, but I wouldn't guarantee it will hold water or beer. Let's see here. Yeah, I have no idea where Stream Elements wrote that. Oh, yeah. Anyways, howdy and 15 inserts is the answer. Yay, I got it right. After I counted them. Yeah. Woody, have you put this together? I assume you have, because I know that you wanted to put one of these together. So I'm going to ask you to put one of these together, and I'm going to ask for you to help me out while I do it. And while you're working up some answers for that, and maybe telling me what my first couple steps are, so we can make this a little interactive, I'm also going to bring over a friend of mine that you guys may recognize that is on my Discord here. And this particular individual, let's see here, let me use the right one. I would say he took up issue with, but he found it interesting, much the same way I did, with all the Loctite and plastic sayings that are going around. They're out and about with a bunch of people. And I always talk about it, and everybody can have their own opinions or anything like that, but for the most part, I don't believe that Loctite has that much of an effect on ABS, because I tested ABS specifically. I've never tested PLA, I've never tested ASA, I've never tested PC, and I only tested one manufacturer. I do know that Loctite as a chemical can cause crazing in some acrylics, but these aren't acrylics. I also, based on my research, found that the root of all this came from the fact that it was being used in the hobby model airplane / model AC car or RC car, where they use a lot of nylon screws or nuts and bolts that hold stuff together. Literally the plastic nuts and bolts. They were using Loctite on those, and that didn't work out well. And last but not least, I am not a big fan of trying to use nail polish on parts or nuts and bolts to hold them together, because nail polish very well does have acetone in it, and if you know very much at all about ABS, you know that acetone can be used to smooth out ABS, which definitely has something to do with possibly weakening ABS. So anyways, our friend Robert has taken upon himself. He asked me if I knew of a part on the Voron printer that had a nut that was locked in place by plastic that had a screw of some sort that would basically go through it to hold it down. I mentioned the Z idlers because those have exactly that, and they're relatively quick and easy to print and small. So Robert has gone the distance here beyond what I did, and he has what does he have here? One, two, let's see, he's got ASA, poly ASA, polycarbonate carbon fiber. He's got a couple, let's see, he's got ABS, another ASA, and then different amounts of walls and fills, I believe. And you correct me if I'm wrong in the chat here, Robert. Z tensioner, yes. So I believe 248, I think we're talking about top and bottoms, walls, and or maybe infill, 20% infill, 4 walls, I don't know. Clear that up for me a little bit. But anyways, this is going to be a long-term test, and what he wanted to do is put the parts under pressure, under tension. So these are put together, they're screwed together tight. And he's going to do this a long-term test. I don't know how long he's going to do it, but we'll follow up with Robert when he has some more information. He wanted to test it for himself. And the big thing here, and I want to mention this, and I want to do it to kind of explain myself and sometimes when I test stuff, such as when I tested my tap on my kinematics bed, I never claim that my tests are scientific. I claim that my tests are my experience based on what I have, and you can take it for yourself and use it, or better yet, take it from what I have, do it yourself, and share your experience with other people so that they have more than one perspective. Because here's the thing, is you never know from any one person that you're watching one of these videos from, or you read an article from, whether or not they got paid by some type of company, or if they have an alternate motivation for something. So the more people that do these tests on their own, and I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to do them sometimes, but the more people do these tests, and the more people that share that information with other people, the more, you know, the better the information will be, and the more exact the information will be, and the more, you know, usable that information will be. So I want to give props to Robert for doing this test as well. I'm really excited about seeing what the outcome is, and hopefully he shares that with us when the time comes. Let's see, Robert, let me see what you've been writing here. Poking some, but it's pretty cool. Let's see. Z-Tension, yes. Mark Davis is on. Mark Davis, hey, how we doing, buddy? Can't stay long, but wanted to drop in and say hello. Well, big hello to you too. This isn't going to be a hugely long one either, because I got to get back outside because the sun's out. But I wanted to say hello to all the folks here too. So glad you stopped by and say hello. Robert, 2 primers, 15% infill, 248 equals the glue. Oh, 242. Okay, I get you. Yes, 248. I didn't even. Yep, 248 being the glue, I call it the chapstick version versus the liquid version. Got it, perfect. Is it me, or is everyone getting intermittent audio? If that's the case, please let me know. I think my audio is okay. Let's see, audio lagged a bit twice. No, first time for everything. I'm getting a little buffering, however, it's a bad sort coming through. Audio has been okay since I joined. Thank you, Mark. And thank you, anybody else. Let me know if you guys do miss something. Let me know right away. Hopefully, I'll see it in the message, and I'll repeat myself. I have 2 young kids, so I'm used to doing that. Let's see here. Audio's been okay. Search a fruit, heat insert, press for instructions with pictures. Audio okay. It was me. Okay. See, I told you guys are here because it's raining out. If your audio is choppy, just exit and rejoin. Solved it here. Stream problem, Kerm, not hardware. You're good. Good to go. BIB, build a basement. Good. Let me get out of this Discord thing. I hope I'm good. I mean, I built this computer new just to do this, so I hope it wouldn't be me, but I wouldn't doubt. So, Woody, I am on Adafruit. I don't see. I don't see instructions on how to do this. I see a video. I see an overview. Maybe I'm missing something here. Let me see. Yeah. I'm gonna get on it anyways. All right, let's just jump right into it. Mark, if you're still here, and Woody, I think you both. Actually, I don't know about you, Mark, but I know Woody have an LDO kit, and if you did miss it, if it was on before you did, I had some issues with an X rail for my LDO kit. Make sure you clean those the best you can, grease them up the best you can, but the indication that I was having is it was rumbling almost like a train from a distance. I don't know that it would have caused too much issue on print. It probably came through as a salmon skin type situation or something like that, which basically is small fluctuations in the outer wall. It wouldn't have made the prints horrible, but it would have been visible. So I had to switch out my rail on mine, just so you know. If you're using an LDO kit, just be just advising it, not saying there's anything wrong with LDO parts, just putting it out there. Yep, I wouldn't disagree with that. It only happened while you discussed Loctite. Yeah, either that or it happened when I mentioned the clear nail polish. We'll call that a conspiracy. I'm not Canadian. Maybe you can tell me, how bad was your audio, John? Maybe it was happening from Canada and it was about clear nail polish. All right, I'm gonna go back over this. Woody says I can find something here. There's a video here. Let me go back into this here and actually get this out of the screen. And let me go find my instructions that Woody sent me. Instructions here. Yeah, it brings me right there. I don't see pictures. Maybe a little loose. Install parts list. Okay, I got that. And that goes right on to that. It's weird. All right. I don't want to watch the video, but we'll carry on. Let me put it on that one. Yep, there we go. God only knows how far I'll get anyways, right? I lost this. Let's see here. Ouch, I wish I had an LDO 2.4 form bot currently, but I wanted to be able to try an LDO next year. I wouldn't not do it. And I also would say that there's nothing, honestly, I will say this, and I will be probably flamed up and down for it, but I had no issues with my form bot kit that were major. And I will say I like the fact that Formbot didn't try to redesign a good portion of the Voron printer to make things a little bit easier for them, I'll say, to put out the kit. And that made it easier for me because you weren't bouncing back between multiple manuals to build it. So that's my little take on the Formbot thing. And I don't know if they're still doing it that way or not, but that's when I did mine. Clean really well, grease them, install all about 50 hours of printing so far, all's well. Perfect. Page forward. There's not like a 5-verse printer guide there. So it said 3D printing. If I page forward, okay, well they shouldn't call it 3D printing. They should say instructions to follow or something. Let's see here. By the way, it's my very first print, first class guy. My 01 start says a FISIC kit, and I was very happy with it. Yeah. So the thing is, and I guess that would probably be a pretty good video, is when you buy a kit, buy it for the ease. Don't buy it for the parts. And I think John would probably tell you that you're probably going to replace nearly all the parts in your kit if you buy a kit. And I don't think I'd go that far, but I think I've heard John say that. And he's not 1,000% wrong. I'm just using the 1,000% everywhere today. But your experience may be different than other people's experiences. What I will say is that when you buy those kits, they're not necessarily sourced to be the best parts. They're sourced to be the best parts based on the price. You know, there are some discounts you get for buying things in bulk, which is one of the ways that they reduce their cost. And there's also a reduction in cost by them, I guess, just to be blunt about it, but by them buying slightly lesser quality parts. And I don't think I'm saying anything that's not true or anything that people don't really kind of realize. So, yeah. And FISIC's the same way. They're all trying to, we'll just say they're all trying to cash in a little bit on the Voron craze, and you know, it could just have well been the rat rigs or, you know, whatever else comes down the chain. Whenever anything becomes popular, you're going to see companies try to cash in on it in some way, and in some ways that's a benefit to hobbyists because it makes the parts more readily available a lot of times, but sometimes it becomes kind of a negative too, because then you wind up with a lot of people with parts that may not be to the level that they should be. Either somebody bought those particular parts because you know, it's all they could afford, or it's all they found, or they didn't know better. And I would say most times it's because people don't know better. So that's why it's good to just mention those things. I think our replacement rail, Honey Badger, I'll talk about these parts as I go here, John, if you don't mind. Honey Badger, that's by Fabrico. Fabrico actually dismantles rails and carriages and cleans them and lubes them and then repackages them. Sometimes they even adjust the bearings inside them to make sure they have just the right amount in them. So that's the Honey Badgers. Those are very good rails. Panels, Mandela Rose, entire carriage, Bondtech genuine aftermarket. So panels, Mandela Rose. Mandela Rose is a machining company. They do a lot with aluminum. They also do plastic machining. They do very, very nice work. My Kinemax kit is Mandela Rose, and it's really quite beautiful, the stuff they do. So that's that. And then if you don't know who Bondtech is and you're here and you've kind of built a printer, that would surprise me, but Bondtech is known for making very, very nice, highly precise cuts in drive and gearing and things like that, and making sure things are just the way they should be. They kind of look beyond. They actually do stuff for more than just the hobbyist market. They make parts for a lot of market, or the market. Kind of like what you're seeing right now with E3D and stuff, doing hot ends for Prusa and stuff like that. So good parts. And then what else did you say there? Honey Badger, PEI Honey Badger. Yep. So, and then some Honey Badger stuff there, some more Fabrico stuff, the bed and stuff like that. So this right here, I believe, is the push down, the finger push down, 2 heat certs on the back of that. I don't know why everybody just doesn't call them heat certs. Can everybody just start calling these heat certs instead of heat inserts? Just say it to yourself. Say heat cert instead of heat insert. It rolls off the tongue much better. And now they want me to, you can tell this is a beginner's guide. You know what? I'm going to go to this guide. You can tell it's beginner's guide because every time I put a heat cert, they want me to mount it to something. And I strongly suggest when you go through phases of building, this is kind of a good thing to do because I never built anything off of a guide like this. But whenever my personal way of doing this is I would put all of my heat certs in on all the parts before I go any further, and then start assembling. That way you're not going back and forth between your iron. But we'll do it the way they're doing it here. But I figured I'd mention that because I find that interesting, and I'm just odd like that, I guess. So this is going, let's see, this guy's up like that. How is that? Nope, like that. What is this thing? Oh yeah, there we go. All right, so it's going like that. And let me switch back over to the camera. Is it 2? Yeah. So this is going to go like so. And what do they say? M3 by 6 millimeters. So I believe that's these ones that my buddy Woody sent me. Where is my smaller drivers? I do not need this honking thing. There we go. Well, let's see here. Let me get one screw in this, get this started, and then I'll check back in with the chats. I'm gonna throw a question out there while I'm putting these screws in. And it's about maker fairs and rep rat festivals and things like that. And I just want to know what you guys think about those, and if any of you guys have considered going to them or would like to go to them, because I'm considering myself possibly going to one. I just don't know which one I want to go to, and just want to know if any of you guys have gone to any, and if you have any opinions on that. So throw that out there, and check seems really good. It's not exactly correct for the Honey Badger rails. I'm a reseller of them. Well, John, tell us exactly what is correct for the Honey Badger rails, because the last thing I want to do is ill-inform people on things. That was my understanding of the Honey Badger rails, which is the best I got. Hector has not told me any different. So tell us about the Honey Badgers. Let's see here. This right here is going to wind up being the holder for the iron. We gotta strike while the iron's hot. Let's see. So Woody, I'm assembling this. I know this is like one of your first prints. I will tell you that it is everything looks nice, but the holes for the heat certs are a little tight. They're not too tight, but they're a little tight. I'll get them in there, but figure I'll let you know. Not complaining. There we go. And get the next one here. John, you reply yet? Come on. No, but Renee, what did you say? I'd like to see a closer, I see one closer home. Seems like it'd be cool. I agree with that 100%. I probably would have gone to one already if there was one closer to my home. The big thing is, you know, air flights and things like that, they really add on to it. The shows themselves are free or cheap, so it's just trying to get to them in air flight and all that time. Let's see here. Let's see, Robert, I'd like to go mainly meet people. One of the ones there, Herm, South Joel. Yeah, I'd like to meet some of those people too. Actually, more than meeting some of those people, I'd just like to have. I think people act differently when you're face to face with people, and I try to keep that in mind whenever I talk to you guys. I try to be as normal or what I would normally be as you know, as I would be. But I'd like to see if people are actually the way that you suspect that they would be if you met them in person. I kind of like psychology in that way because humans are very interesting. Let's see here. And then better now that I got the PA adjusted. Oh, you got your pressure advance adjusted. Good. How'd that pressure advance test go there, Woody? Did you have to make minor or major adjustments? And which pressure advance test did you use? Did you do there's a couple of them. There's try to describe them. My descriptions are probably gonna be horrible, but there's a line test, there's like a zigzag test, and then there's the very old and slightly antiquated box test, single wall box test. It's interesting which one you used. That'll be something we'll probably do video on at some point. Let's see here. Oh, what? You're taking the easy way out there, poor boy. Let's see here. They're spaced right from the factory, even to length. Okay, good to know. Yes, he does pre-clean, lube them. That the maker for Hector for doing. However, all blocks are preloaded and done as a custom order. Okay, so what John's saying there, for people that maybe don't know some of the lingo, is basically Hector from Fabrico orders the rails to a certain specific preload that fits the bill better than a lot of other folks. So I'll squint the camera back over to this real quick. So what a lot of people don't realize is rails, if you have a rail, and I'm not calling you out if this is something you thought, but I'm just letting you know, if you have a rail that slides really easy, this one slides pretty decent, but if you have a rail that slides really easy up and down like this and doesn't hold, that has nothing to do with how good the rail is. That has more to do with what the preload is on that rail. So a rail that goes really quick up and down, and almost like a roller skate bearing, that means it has little, if any, preload on it. It's impossible to have no preload, but it basically, there's no friction. It's not holding on tight. It doesn't have a grip, which also means that you're probably going to get lateral movement on that rail when you go to use it, which is not a good thing. Then the other side of that whole thing is you have something with a huge preload on it, which means that when you hold it in place like this, that this does not move whatsoever, and you actually would have to use some force to bring it down. So there, and I don't recall what the numbers are there. Yeah, Z0. So Z0 being a easy slide, Z, and I believe Z1, Z2, and I think there might be a Z3. There's different preloads you can go through to absolutely no preload means block falls off. Yes, exactly, because there's no friction holding it on. There's different preloads you can have depending on what it is. So don't think because it moves freely that it is a good rail versus one that doesn't move freely, that's a bad rail. It has more to do with, does it move smoothly, and how much play is there in the carriage to the rail. So does it have any wobble in it, if you will. And that's actually, now that we're talking about that, and I know I've talked about it when I was doing the CNC tap, but that was actually one of my primary concerns on the CNC tap. They use an MGN7 inside that unit, and MGN7s are known to basically have a lot of slop on them. They have very low preload on them. So before I purchased one, I had conversations with them, and that was one of the questions I brought up, and I was told by them, and it kind of seems plausible now that I put one together and I've used it, and I did feel it, that they're getting those with a custom preload on them. So yeah, and back to this. Absolutely no pre-ups. The easy way, I call it the KISS. Keep simple method. Keep it simple, stupid. Yes. 1.5 preload. All right, so they're going right between a 1 and a 2. So that would be a custom preload. All right, so next thing we're gonna do the clamp set. We're gonna put the heat certs on that. So let's do that next. So heat certs going in. Woody, did you actually put the heat certs on the screws individually, like for me in advance, so I know which screws to put where and when and stuff, or did you buy them that way? Because that took time. I know you're a night owl and all. I don't know. I don't know. This is a fun little project, though. This would be a... I'm thinking about starting up a secondary channel. I was going to rebrand my channel, but I think I'm going to do a secondary channel. I've already purchased a domain. You can go check it out. There's a I forget what you call it. It's basically a splash page or whatever you want to call it, a hold page or a placeholder. But the website is zhop 3d.com. And that one's going to be more project-based related, basically not 3D printer construction and maintenance and those types of things, but more in the lines of putting stuff together or printing things. You know, probably have some kid-related stuff on there, because that's kind of what I was supposed to be doing from the first place. But got a placeholder out there for that, so that will be coming about at some point this fall. Earlier in the stream I mentioned I'd talk about a little bit what my plans are over the next 6 months, so I guess now is a good time to talk about that while I'm throwing these heat certs in. So right now, in the beginning of summer, late spring here in the wonderful tropical state of Maine, we're getting our Voron 2.4 is all built at this point, and not for the lack of wanting to finish it up, but indeed for the lack of not wanting to leave things out and kind of leave people out to dry, because when things get built, people tend to lose interest in things. We're going to finish that up. It's pretty much going to be software related stuff and tuning and hardware and things like that for that unit. But then we're also going to be, once we get done with that, hold on real quick. Can't change scenes and talk at the same time. Once we get that to 100%, we're printing with it and we got good prints out of it. And then I continue to use that as a printer. Assuming that we don't run into any issues, you're probably not going to see that printer again for a while. We are going to be rebuilding my other 2.4, and we're going to be basically disassembling that, going through maintenance of that. Maintenance being, let's see here, basically taking apart, looking at the belts, looking to see what needs to be replaced, what needs or what lubrication it looks like after about 1.5 years of use. Look to see what parts are worn out. Look for hairline fractures and cracks in parts to see if we have any parts that are starting to fail and what those failures look like. And that's going to be probably late July or so. I have been getting contacted by Big Tree Tech quite a bit, and I may, and I'll be 100% outright with this. I may accept from them some parts, and they may basically be, providing some items for the rebuild of that printer. And if they do that, then I'll still be unbiased, and that's kind of where things are right now with them, where I may not see anything from them because of the fact that I told them that I'm not going to do things differently than I do them now. So I'm sure they're probably maybe thinking about not providing me with parts, but they were going to provide me with a MCU. They already provided me, and I haven't used it, but I have in the back corner along with other stuff, some can parts. I have a filament runout sensor that I purchased. They're also going to send me the what is it called, the NAMI, I don't know, the LCD screen that goes in the front of the stealth burner that looks like it would make it suck air through plastic, but there's actually a modification to it, so it grabs air from the outside, which on high sight doesn't look too bad. Let's see here, we're not going to do that yet. We're not going to tie the rope onto that yet. We're good there. Install nylon rope, yeah, we're going to do that eventually. I'm skipping the nylon rope stuff for now because I didn't grab a piece of rope yet. And then let's see, idler pulley. All right, we're going to do that. So anyways, what are you guys writing about? You guys, let's see here. I'm old, have time to do OCD stuff. Good. As long as that fills your habit. I think he put screws into the heat sets, so he knew he'd give you everything. Yes, that's a good point. Let's see here. Landing page, yes, that's what I was trying to say. Who says we're not for kids? None of us say we're not for kids, but I know my kids find this very boring, so hopefully I can do something that's not so boring, right? We're playing with 3D printers, yes. Playground, yeah, sure. Where do they hold EARF? East Coast Repcrop Fest in Maryland. Oh, somebody just wrote that. Bel Air, Maryland, September 30th through October 1st. Yep. The problem with Maryland to me is it's kind of a long drive, but it's a really short flight. And either way, it's it's time and money. So, but anyway, I slice it, it's gonna be time and money. Let's see, you realize that typing into Google, we've gotten you the full answer. Oh, John, come on. We're all here to help each other. Be nice. I know you're not being nice, but people like to talk sometimes, right? Let's see here. We got to put a heat set insert into that guy. Oh, I'm doing stuff off camera here. Whoops. This is going to be the top section of where things are going in. This is the bearing that's going to flow over the rope once we put it in there. That's going to be snapping into here, which probably going to be difficult with the rope on there, but I'll have to do it anyways after. But we'll put a heat insert into that. What to do? Here we go. And let's see. I know it's a joke. I don't take things that literally. Let's see here. Now they want us to mount. We're mounting this to this. How are we mounting this to this? Oh, we got to put heat inserts in. I'm just going to hard to see. Can I click on that? Oh, there we go. That looks like that. So putting heat inserts into. How is this going? That is like that. And I feel like I'm missing something here. Feel like I'm missing something. So maybe at this point I should actually take a look at this here. This is going to go like this. Okay, they're talking about this piece. All right, so the heat certs go into this, which these look a little bit big for heat certs. Let's see, my dad died last October. I was a little classic tinkerer, so I started the hobby knowing he would have really liked it. Wish I could have talked to him about it. Technical details of the hobby, 3-part assembly test. Yeah. I think tinkering is a genetic thing. So, let me see here. Can I make that picture bigger? Yes, I can. So they have, so I'll mention this in case people don't know, and I think everybody here knows it because everybody here is, I believe, built a printer or is far enough in the process that they, if they didn't know this, they really are going to say, whoops. But that has to do with the heat certs and knowing that one side of them is beveled and the other side of them kind of has the sunflower pattern on it, if you will, the retention pattern, and that basically the cog looking side of it is always up, whereas the other portion of it that has a little slight bevel on it goes down into the part. But everybody knows that. So with this particular picture that's on the screen, I wouldn't have, if I didn't know that, then I'd probably not know what direction to put these in. Yep. Oh, there we go. Let's see here. Yes, Woody and I have talked about that many times. Woody knows his dad would have really enjoyed him being in this type of a hobby. I mean, it's really interesting how far this has come, this hobby in general. So they are, how is this? What are they doing here? Let's see here. Install ball bearing. We did that part. I'm going to show you guys this PDF. So they have they have a part they're holding upside down for some odd reason. I don't quite know why they're holding it upside down, but they are. Which looks like that. It looks like I need to put heat certs at some point somewheres. Let's go back one here. And there's that one. Okay, so there's heat certs in that, which wasn't relatively clear to me, but I think Woody sent me this just because he knew I had put together some Vorons before, so I kind of know how to fill the gaps in between the instructions, but I had never put one of these before in, so he wanted to see if I struggled a little bit here with these instructions. Kind of a friendly thing, right? I'm actually not great at following instructions. I'm decent at figuring out problems and sniffing out solutions, but that's about it. Yeah. All right, so there's that one. We put those in real quick. And secure ball bearing M3x6 screw. So we'll do that. I don't know how that's going to do that. Let's see. Through, place the screw, insert, bearing holder, fasten screw. Let's see. What are they doing here? Okay, there's a little spacer thing. Okay, let's get back to the screen here so everybody can see what I'm doing. Let's go back to the, let's see. Dad's hobbies include ham radio with Morse code, beekeeping, whoops, well, sorry, Woody, I made myself laugh. Morse code, and I said beep keeping, so beekeeping, it's kind of like beep keeping with the Morse code, right? Winemaking, that's pushing it out. Bookbinding, name a few, and had a master, was a master in each one. Bookbindings, that's an eclectic mix of hobbies, if I do say so myself. That would make him one with nature and technology. I should have made me a hobby. This thing has a hair trigger. Oh, that's fine. That's what video is for. This, yeah, talking about the assembly. Yes, Dad definitely seemed like a tinkler. The puzzle continues. Yes, just playing John. Poor boy, you're supposed to be watching and learning. Ha ha ha. John, Raz, take it. Yes, you LDO real soldering iron rest. Yeah, you guys saw that, huh? Yeah, so that's part of the. Let's see if it's even warming up at all. That's part of my I'm not going. I don't even have a holder for this one because it's gonna go on this machine. But it's a ferrous metal testing kit to see basically how well it dissipates heat. Yeah. All right. So we got a little spacer here, and we need a 6mm. I think it said. 3x6, 3x6 millimeter. That'd be one of these guys. And we're gonna put the nice side out. And put that on like that, and that's going to be a retainer. And I'm probably going to want to take this apart. Actually, I might be able to feed the string up through there. I'm really tricky about it. It has a nice little feel to it. That works well. All right, we got that, and then secure holder to mount. So those are going to get screwed from the back side. So that's going to go like that with the cutouts here, so the string can go up through it. And these are going to be M3x8s. And let's see here. But put your titanium backer on if you're testing heat dissipation. Yeah, that or I can water cool it, right? Liquid cool the rail. We'll have a liquid cooled soldering iron. Oh, that'd be a viral video, wouldn't it? Let's see here. Idiot talks about liquid cooled soldering iron. Let's see here. We got this part now. What am I looking at here? I am looking at that right there. So basically we are putting the fourth part together for this. So let's get back to this. You can see, so basically we're taking the top mount that's going to go on our rail. We're slapping the top end pulley system to it, and we're using, I would assume, 8mm screws. 6 it says. Okay, 6. 6 it is. Just like that. And just like this. Yep. So we have some fun with the Voron printer here soon. An upcoming video I'm going to put out. It's not going to be a long one, but basically we're going to go over how to disable the logging data screen for your Linux running on your Raspberry Pi that's inside that printer, to basically cover that up with a video, a startup video or object on the screen. So basically you have your own custom startup screen on your printer, followed by a logo and maybe some changes to the actual Clipper screen UI. That should be pretty fun. That's going to be coming pretty soon. Let's see here. Next we got a T-nut thing we got to do here. We've got some T-nuts here, right? And they want us to preload the T-nut, I imagine, on this. So I'm going to take this T-nut off, and we're going to slide this through here. Actually, I'm going to slide it back out a little bit so I can kind of slide this in, kind of hold it in place on the back side. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Let's get a couple threads on that like that. All right, and just so everybody knows what I was doing, I was doing that right there. Now let me look at the stream here, see. By the way, the pencil soldering iron, did you purchase for the press? What pencil? Let's see, you need some Loctite for all these screws. Yeah, they're not really under tension or anything, so I'm not too worried about them. And they're all exposed, they're not going to be inside the machine. You weren't here, Woody. I bought a relatively inexpensive soldering iron on Amazon. I think it was like $8, so not relative, it is inexpensive. I was going to order the Adafruit one, but it was going to take like a week and a half. I don't know if they're out of stock or not. I did like the fact that they had a temperature thing on the power cord. This one has a little temperature dial on the soldering iron itself, and it had a thin, like a pencil style grip onto it, so that was cool. A lot of the other ones I saw all have digital meters here, which make them impossible for the gripping mechanism to work. So I went with this one. We'll see if it works pretty good. If not, I'll have a spare soldering iron to do other things with, but that's the one I plan on using with it. So yeah, let's see here. I've been playing around with 0.08 layer height, printing out some steampunk chess pieces. Layer line seems to disappear. A lot of detail comes through. Are you using adaptive layer heights with that, poor boy, or are you just going straight out 0.08? Just interested, because there's a lot happening right now with adaptive layer heights. You can do quite a bit with them. You know I use Loctite. Foghorn Langhorn, that's a joke, son. I said that's a joke. Steampunk check pieces. You please send me some links. I have to see this. Watch test for new tab. Hey, I have to yet to watch test for new tab. Waiting to get mine for one reason. But did you do another ADXL test afterwards? Have change configure afterwards? So let's switch this over to this. Anytime you do a major change in the toolhead, I would suggest retesting with an ADXL. That would include doing the printed tap to the CNC tap. Two reasons. One is the CNC tap is a lot more rigid, so those vibrations are going to be a little bit different. Plus, the resonant frequencies of plastic versus metal are much different, so you're definitely going to want to do it for that reason too. So there's two reasons of probably 16 that you'd want to retest it anyways. So yes, I would retest that. All right, we're running to the steampunk chest parts, so let's continue on with the build here. I don't want to get sucked into that one. Let's see, aluminum extrusion. Yes, we have that. Base parts of wood. I didn't bring out my wood yet. I got to actually cut that. So That's going to be something I'm going to do on the side separately, but we're going to have to put a couple more of these hammerheads in. I actually have a piece of walnut and a piece of oak that I'm going to use one of those. I don't know which one yet, but I figured since Woody was nice enough to send me this kit, I'm going to make it I won't call it a centerpiece, but I'm going to try to make it nice. Let's see, M4 by 8. M4 by 8, yes. Why are they going to M4s? I don't know. Seems a little overkillish. Not a problem. All right, there's that one. Second one here. I haven't messed with the adaptive layering, still experimenting with it. Cool. So, surprised that you're seeing such nice results from 0.08 nozzle. Definitely would see some quicker printing too, I'd imagine, right? I've done a little bit with I've gone to a 2 and I've done a 6 and I've played with the 8. I always wind up going back to the good old 4 for whatever reason. I did get, I haven't used them yet, I got a 4 and I've got a 6 of the are these the obsidian ones? Yeah, the obsidian nozzles. That's the 4, and I got a 6. I haven't even opened these up to play with them much. I run a Revo on my 01, but I'm going to play with those eventually. I'm interested in, I don't know. I question the strength of the coating that they put on those. They had a lot of trouble with it, so makes me wonder. So yeah, see, haven't messed with it. Maybe tractor in front. Rumba Robert, I saw that. I'm testing on my V's. Testing using a part carefully placed with a toothpick. I think I missed something there. In case you missed over a little Loctite. Oh yes, Loctite test. Yeah. We talked about that, hopefully. Renee, thank you. Mike Churchman, whichever filament changer you decide to go with, have a drop soon, so show my support. All right, well, I appreciate you coming in and stopping by. I know my live streams aren't the most exciting thing ever, but they're a little bit like a little bit of a party, right? I jump in a simple search printables, you'll find them. Nicely played. Oh, I don't even know if you meant to do it that way, John. But if you take it that way, I guess all the better, right? Printables, all I needed. Thank you. I'm really like, now that we're talking about printables a little bit, I'll throw it out there, but I'm starting to really like printables. I don't know what everybody else is using. You know, I was, just because I've been around a little while, I did, and I have used Thingiverse for a long time, and I honestly didn't really go much else. Whenever I want something quick and cheap, I went there. Cheap meaning free. But I've really started to like printables. I never really caught on with Thangs. I just didn't like the way that their search worked, I think, was the biggest thing. But yeah, I like printables. Printables is doing really well. They got a lot of good stuff on there. So, yeah. Yeah, let me see what's going on here. So we have that one, we have that one. What's going in these other two holes, I suppose? What is that? So this, what are they showing here? They only show them going into that one. All right, seems pretty rigid. They want us to mount on a bracket. We're not doing that yet. And then we just got to start assembling the rest of it. So, make sure I get in camera here. Let's see here. This is going to, how is this going on here? This is showing, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? This is showing that being like that, which makes sense. Yay! Smooth. This is going to wind up going on. Let's see. How is this going to go on? That is going to go on. Let's see. This is going like this. I gotta look at this picture. That's like that. So this is going to go on like this. So let's do that next. All right. And hit that one right here. Let's see what's next. What else is going on here? I like printables. Just started downloading deals from them this week. Yes. I agree. I like printables as well. I mean, I've kind of stayed away from it because it was a Prusa website, but it really, you know, at some point we're going to get to where all these printers are just good enough, you know, pretty much. And it's going to come down to the actual files. And at some point, I hate to say this, but I'll say it anyways, somebody's going to come up with some type of copy protection or something on files. And maybe even figure out some way to have, you know, print once type things and stuff like that. That's all going to come down the pike. I can pretty much guarantee it. So when you buy something, you don't get to keep it forever. You can buy a perpetual license, I assume, some of the stuff. But it's going to be kind of like what we do right now with video, you know, on Amazon or wherever, where you can rent it or you can buy it, and that's the way it will be. You'll love the fiddly part connecting the string. Yeah, I can already tell that. It looks like it's going to loop down through the hole and come back around. It's going to be fun. Sample search 5K results. Yes. Harder than building an ultimate. I don't think it's going to be harder, Woody. Come on. Chicken and egg. You need to put heat inserts for building the Voron. Need the Voron parts to print the heat insert parts. Yes. I agree with that. You need... you also need a Voron to print the Voron parts if you listen to the mindset of the Voron in general, right? Let's see here. They're showing this like this. I always like to put things in perspective to how a picture is. Show you guys what the picture looks like. I talk about this a lot when I was building or when I build printers. I think it makes it a lot easier if you can actually see what you're doing in perspective to what the instructions are. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. And we'll put this on here. It's going on the back end based on that picture. This guy right here, he is going to wind up like this. We get our roll nut in place there. Actually, key nut, not a roll nut. And we don't have the string on there yet, but we now, if I was smart, I would have disconnected this thing a bit ago so it'll cool off. But it will still cool off. It just might take an extra second or two. Yeah, I think, I don't know why. Let's see, why do I have one additional? I'll need this. I'll need those four for that. I got that one. There's only one on that side. I got those two. I think I have one extra T-nut and screw. Doing that to mess with me, or is that to mount? You know what? I can use that to mount. So I'll mention this too. So when Woody sent me this, I was thankful and all this stuff, and I started like looking at what I was like, you know what? This is missing is a bin to keep all your heat certs in, like so you can keep it right with the unit all in one. So without really missing a beat, Woody went ahead and designed this little tub that fits right in there. And yeah, I'm gonna mount it right in there. It can go right on, so it's gonna be kind of cool. So let's. It's getting cold enough yet. So I think what we're gonna have to do on this is we're gonna have to cut this sleeve off, but I don't want to destroy it because I think we're going to use some of this rubber to do what we need to do here, because I think plastic on plastic isn't going to suit us very well. Actually might. It's actually pretty tight, but I'm still going to do what I wanted to do in the first place because I'm stubborn. I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut myself, not literally cut myself, but I'm going to cut for myself a piece of this rubber, like so. And I'm going to get my super duper glue, if I can find it. If you didn't have a piece of rubber and some super duper glue, you could always probably just put a dab of pot glue in there, which is kind of like rubber when it dries. Let's see here, we'll do a little bit of that, and then a little bit of this. And we'll put it right in the middle. And give it a little bit of pressure and burn our fingers off because it's going to get hot. Oh, ye have little faith. What did it say here? Let's see. Multiples, that one works. Later, Renee. I'll see you later. Have a good one. Yeah, drop. Back and kind of wait. Firm. Roughly balance it. Yeah, I could use 695. That'd be even more expensive than the quarters that I think somebody suggested. But I do have some bolts, some nuts and bolts over here that I think will be more than enough, and I can adjust it by putting more nuts if I want more nuts. You know, yeah. Let's see here. Did Woody not send you the piece of wood suggested amount to? He did not. I would push the shipping over £1. It fixes everything. More joking, not being serious. Shipping, mean animal. Yes, shipping is a mean animal. All right. All right, it's getting cool. I can touch now without worrying about burning myself. No, I have I do a little woodworking type stuff here at the house. So I'm going to use a piece of wood I have here to mount to, and that piece of wood is a nice little piece of maple, not maple, walnut. I think I have a piece of walnut I want to use, and if it's not walnut, it will be oak. So we'll make it classy. So go there. Try to get that just slightly above. There's a little bit of a taper on this, so I'm going to start with the longer screws on the bottom here. Hopefully I don't screw this up. We've come so far. Got those two. And just for production notes here, I'm not tightening these down as I put them in because we're going to adjust where this sits on the iron to get the maximum amount of squeeze on the whole thing. So my goal here is to get maximum squeeze on it, get the temperature dial here in a place where we can use it, and also keep this portion as short as possible so it's as rigid as possible. Which I don't think is going to be a big issue here, but we have the opportunity to make it better. Why not do it, right? So, because there is a little bit of a taper on this handle, I'm not going to be screwing the backs down all the way because the plastic piece is not made for a taper. So there we have it. Let's go put the string on it. We'll be done to go. Good to go. Done and done. Put it on a piece of wood. Hell, I can mount it right here, right? Right in the middle of this whole workbench. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, that ain't happening, but pretty cool. Nice little unit. Well, told you I'd build it on camera, Woody. Really appreciate the gift. Went together pretty well. Not a bad video, just a good little thing to put together here. And let's see here, what else do we got? Use lead fishing weights. That's a good idea. I can do that. I bought these nuts. They fit in there. That's probably what I'm going to use. You can use just about anything. I wouldn't use sand. I did think about that for a quick second, but then I was like, no, not a good idea. Let's see here. There was a bearing size that perfectly fits. Yes, it does add to the cost. Yeah, bearings would be expensive. I think I'd read that quarters, American quarters fit perfectly in there. Canadian quarters should be about the same. They're about the same size. But again, that'd be, about $10 worth of quarters that go into that. I think lead might be a little too heavy. The original goal was to balance it like your garage door and just see how lead works out. Well, it doesn't say you have to fill it all the way up to the top. Yeah, I have to go put mine together. Yeah, it's a good little, good little hour project or so. Obviously probably goes together a little bit quicker if you don't have people watching. You're not trying to tape it while you're doing it and going back and forth and stuff. But it's a good little kit right there, right? Anyways, yeah, so again, I want to thank whoever joined the stream today, and if you're still here, thank you for coming by. I'm going to say my goodbyes and all that good stuff. I do want to thank everybody that gave the stream a thumbs up. Thank everybody for swinging in, and yeah, I don't really have all that much more to say. Next video coming out for the printer, for the 2.4 part of that build, is we're going to basically finalize the probing for the tap, basically some fail safes for temperature, so we're not probing our bed at 240 degrees Celsius. So we make sure that we lock that in so it won't refuse. What we'll do is reduce the temperature of the nozzle down to 150 or lower, depending on what you want to do. Before you actually go through everything, and then bring it back up to temperature before it starts printing, if by chance you do something wrong. We're also going to be working on clipper screen on that, getting that set up the way we want it to get. And then finally, we're going to be doing our tuning on that. I've decided to do the tuning in the videos because I think those are more accessible to people that will be searching for things. Live stream like this is not really great for people that are looking to build things or figure out how to do things, just because there's a lot of, we'll call it banter, but we'll call it banter. In terms of going back and forth with this, it's not the funnest thing to watch somebody talk to people that they're not part of and learn how to do it. Finally, we're going to put the panels on that thing. I've got the back on it now, the top's on it, but we're going to get the sides on that. If you recall, the sides have my logo on it. I've been trying to figure out a decent way to side light those. If you have any ideas on how to do that, and don't just say just put LEDs there, because it looks ugly as all hell. I gotta come up with some type of design, maybe teach myself a little bit of CAD to do that and make it look nice. But if you have any ideas, go ahead and let me know that in the comments down below. Other than that, hey, again, thank you one more time, and I hope I see you next week. If I do one of these next week, if not, it might be a couple weeks. Again, I don't plan on doing these every week, but they tend to seem to happen that way. Hopefully you check out the other videos that come out. If you haven't watched the backlog of Voron build videos for this 2.4 R2, my ultimate build, do that, and hopefully you guys stick around for the tear apart and rebuild of the other Voron, so we can see exactly, what's failing, what's going to fail, what hasn't failed but needs to be worked, and what the major differences are between a 2.4 and an R2, and what do I think about them. So with that being said, check the comments one last time here. Let's see here. Remember the like stream? Yes, Joe and I am good and put mine together. Oh, Joe, hey. Yes, Joe, you did miss it. If I had it in me, I'd do the whole thing all over again for you, but I don't have it in me. Nor do I believe you expect it, but you can just rewind the stream right now. You can start watching from the beginning. You have fun with that, and then you get to this point and say, yep, that's when I popped in. But hello, Joe. Nice to see you. If you can do CAD, you can be. You sure can be my friend. Poor boy, didn't you design your mini whoop in CAD? I doubt you did it in Photoshop or I'm trying to think, Microsoft Paint. You had to do it in something. Joe, I will have a good one. Hopefully you do too. Be safe. All right, Woody, you take care too. Everybody take care. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a great week coming up. Hopefully I see you in my next stream. And yeah, leave me a comment, whatever. If you think of something, I'm reachable. See you next time.